You're listening to Coach's Corner with John Anderson on the CompuSports Radio Network.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Anderson, the host of Coach's Corner here on the CompuSports Radio Network. Thank you for joining us this week here on Coach's Corner. And my guest this week is going to be the head coach at the University of the Cumberlands in Williamsburg, Kentucky, head coach John Bland. And we're going to be talking option today from the spread and from under center, and we're going to be talking about some of the unique aspects of the offense at University of the Cumberlands. This week's guest, John Bland, next.
At CompuSportsMedia.com, our job is to make your job easier and make you a more effective coach. Improve your scouting, game planning, and video analysis with Easy Scout XP Plus and the new Video Scouting edition of Easy Scout Professional. They're powerful, flexible, and affordable, building better game plans for over 25 years. Stretch your dollars with software for scoring and statistics, practice planning, equipment management, and video editing, all from leading publishers and ready for instant download. Improve your defense with ebooks like the highly acclaimed The Master Defense and the 30-Stack Defense, a comprehensive guide to designing and installing a pressure defense. Turbocharge your offense with ebooks from Jerry Campbell, including his latest, Taking the Option Game to the Next Level, and a classic from one of the fathers of option football, Larry Beckish, The Trap Option 40 plus 60 equals option. All the tools you need, priced right, to make this a winning season from CompuSportsMedia.com.
Love your football? Coach's Corner starts now.
This segment of Coach's Corner is sponsored by CompuSports, distributor of the Playmaker Pro and Coach's Office playbook software packages available at CompuSports.com. My guest today hails right now currently from Williamsburg, Kentucky, the University of the Cumberlands. And if you're not familiar with the University of the Cumberlands, they're right off I-75 from Knoxville, Tennessee, headed north toward Lexington, Kentucky. My guest today is head coach John Bland from University of the Cumberlands. Welcome, Coach, to Coach's Corner.
Thank you so much for having me. And you know what? I'm excited about this, getting on the air with you and talking some football. I've been looking forward to it.
University of the Cumberlands is the four-time current Mid-South Conference champions. At what division level, sir?
We're in the NAIA. We compete in the Mid-South Conference. There's two divisions, a West and an East, and we've actually been on both sides. We've been in the East for a while, and we just changed over to the West just because of some new teams that have joined us, ones who have just started football. So it's a 14-team super conference, if you will, and it's very strong, I think, in athletics. So we're proud to say that we've been able to win it a few times.
University of the Cumberlands is actually a six-time champion overall, 87, 88, and 2007 currently to 2010.
Yes. You know, some of our alumni, which we get up here, I got to know a lot of those guys from the 88. You know, that's back in my day when I was playing. And back I played at Arkansas, but I was from this area, from Knoxville. And a lot of these guys are from East Tennessee, ones that I played high school against, came up to, at that time, Cumberland College. And they were the Indians as well. Now we've changed our name to University of the Cumberlands, the Patriots. And so they've kind of done that before I got here. But those 88 guys, the ones that have won that conference championship for the first time, have been a big part of our program. They come back. I have them back for honorary captains and things like that, and they help us raise money for special events and special gifts for the players. For instance, conference championship rings. Those guys have been instrumental in that. So it's just been a long time from 88 to 2007. There was a big break in there, some good football teams, but winning those championships are hard to come by.
That's true. Coach, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into the meat of the conversation here.
That'd be great. I played high school ball at Farragut in Knoxville, Tennessee, and played ball. I was very fortunate to play for a great head coach. I can say that because he was my dad, Dan Bland, and he's been a high school coach all over the state of Tennessee, from East Tennessee to Middle to West Tennessee, and also was coached down in the Gulf there in Mississippi at Pascagoula. And he's been a head coach majority of his career, but he's also been an assistant, and just like most of us have been. But he was a great one to play for. Then I was fortunate enough to sign and play for Ken Hatfield at the University of Arkansas. Played there for 4 years, and we won a lot of football games, had some really good football teams, so I was blessed to be able to be on a really good football team in college. We were in the Southwest Conference. That dates back in the 85 through 88. We're in the old Southwest Conference with Texas and Texas A&M and TCU, and Texas Tech, etc. All those guys. Saw something on 30 on 30, and it had about the SMU deal, and that was about the time I was there. And of course, they weren't paying me. I know that, but that was I wasn't quite that good. But I was in that mix with the old Southwest Conference. And then there was, after that, I went on to be a graduate assistant at Auburn under Coach Pat Dye. And so I got some great experience there with some really good coaches and assistant coaches. And then I went on to coaching myself. So I was a GA there. I was also a assistant coach in high school for 2 years. And again, got a chance to work for my dad at Columbia, Tennessee. That was one of his jobs in Middle Tennessee. And after that, I got into college coaching. I went over to Southern Arkansas University, which is in the Gulf South Conference. Now they're changing out of there, but they were in the Gulf South Conference in Division II. And then I went on to be the head coach there for 1 year, moved to Rice University, coached for Ken Hatfield. So I got a chance to play for my dad and play for Ken Hatfield. And then I got a chance to coach with my dad at Columbia and then coach with Ken Hatfield at Rice. So not only did I get the chance to play, but I also got to coach and learn more football as a coach, which was really instrumental in developing me as a coach. And then from Rice, I came here to the University of Cumberlands. I've been here for 5 years, going on 6. The time flies by pretty quick.
I imagine it does now. I imagine being a protege of Coach Ken Hatfield, you've learned quite a bit of option.
There's no doubt about it. I would say the word guru, option guru, knows a lot about it. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and it takes more than just X's and O's. I know that now to be a good coach. There's a lot of smart guys that can get on the board, but handling people and caring for his players and treating people fairly, pushing them, getting the best out of them. There's a lot of things that make a great coach, and a combination of all those things is my dad, Dan Bland, and Ken Hatfield. So I was very fortunate to get a chance to play and coach with both of those guys.
We're talking with Coach John Bland, the head coach at University of the Cumberlands out of the Mid-South Conference, and we're going to be talking spread, and we're going to be talking a lot of option with Coach Bland. When we come back, you're listening to Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network.
Easy Cut from CompuSports is a fast and enjoyable way to edit and analyze your game videos. Watch entire games on your computer, then label and index plays with a click of a mouse. Copy scenes to CD, DVD, or a memory stick, and upload to online video sharing sites like YouTube. Search and sort plays by keywords, then pause, restart, rewind, and even watch frame by frame for fast and detailed video analysis. Easy Cut is compatible with XP, Vista, and Windows 7. Download the 21-day free trial now or order on CD and discover how easy it is to start analyzing your game videos today.
Let me take you to a place in time where the top rolls down. The hippest cats and the coolest chicks play their radios loud.
You are listening to Coach's Corner with John Anderson on the CompuSports Radio Network.
Hey everybody, did you ever stop to think what happened to good doo-wop music so simple?
This segment of Coach's Corner is sponsored by CompuSports, publisher of the Easy Scout Professional, an affordable all-in-one football scouting and editing program. Easy Scout Professional, available at CompuSports.com. My guest today, head coach John Bland from University of the Cumberlands. We're going to be talking spread, we're going to be talking option, and who knows what we'll get into. Coach Bland, let's talk about why you operate from the spread. I know that different coaches feel that there's different advantages. Why do you run the spread at the Cumberlands?
Well, let me tell you here, I learned this from Coach Ken Hatfield, who I played for there at Arkansas and then coached with at Rice. I learned this. I said, we want to do something unique first. There's a lot of good offenses out there, something that fewer people do. When you prepare for someone, it's more difficult to get ready if you only see that offense once or twice a year. And very few people are running the option under center. More people are running some spread, but not necessarily spread option. And so even though we run the spread option and there's more and more popular of this spread offense, we're still able to do some things that are unique and different, which makes it a little more difficult to prepare for us each year and each week because you only have so long. Now, when someone has 2 weeks to prepare, it's a little tougher, but or we're the first game of the year, etc. But if they have us in the regular meat of the season where you have mainly a Tuesday and a Wednesday to get most of your big practice days in and practices and reps, it gives us an advantage versus our opponent.
I believe Coach Paul Johnson likes to have that kind of advantage also.
There's no doubt about it. You know, we do a lot. When recruits come in to see us on our campus, we've had probably there's not a limit on how many people we can have in the NAI, how many people can visit, because there's really not many official visits. We pay, feed them lunch, and that's about it. But they get up there. We've had probably close to 300 prospects come up to our campus and take a look at us. So it's been really good. And one of the things I tell all of them when they ask what style of offense, you see our highlight film, but it's hard to tell what we do. I say we run the spread option. And the good thing is, if you can relate this to bigger schools, under center, we look like Georgia Tech, very similar. In the shotgun, we'll look like a Mississippi State, where we're running some option out of the gun. We're throwing the football out of both as well. So there's a mix of both, and it helps our preparation because it is very similar out of both for us, but it's different for the opponent because of the different formations.
Now, I've noticed that you do quite a bit of option out of the spread, and I know that when Paul Johnson, who's currently right now at Georgia Tech, previously at Georgia Southern, built a great program down there and had success at Navy prior to going to Georgia Tech. One of the things that he had always said on the way is that you always want to establish everybody you can as a runner.
Yes.
And is that the sort of philosophy that you bring to the Cumberlands?
It is, and basically let me just say this. Our philosophy here is to run the football to set up the pass. Now, we do have a spread option where our personnel, whether we're under center or in the shotgun, stays the same. So our running backs, which we have 3 in an option, just like Paul Johnson does. He has a fullback and he has 2 slots, right? Mm-hmm. What we do is we take those guys and we go to a shotgun formation, and those guys stay in the game. So that means they have to become receivers. They have to be able to block, just like only one person is going to carry the ball. And so what do the rest of them do? They're not just standing there, they're blocking. Our quarterback's the only one that's really not going to block, but his block is because he carries out a fake or someone tackles him in the option game. And so everybody has to be a blocker first. Then I think next my philosophy is they have to be able to catch, block, catch, and then third, in their ability, they have to be able to run. Now, that may be a little backwards, because whenever everybody says, well, you know what? And the way I see it is, they're all running backs. They're not all called blocking backs. You know, what do you want? What are you looking for, Coach? What are you looking for? Some running backs. Running backs. They call them running backs because they can all run. Pretty much, some run a little better than others, but they're all gifted to run. You got to find that special kid who can run and block and catch. So we try to change the order a little bit so we can get the ideal player for us, so we can make plays, because everybody's going to touch it. Everybody's going to get a chance to get the football, but out of the other high percentage time that they're not carrying it, they need to be doing one of those other things.
There was a number of people who stood out to me when I was looking at the cut-ups, and it's obvious you've got some very talented players over there in Williamsburg. When you take this show on the road into somebody else's house, they have to be just scared to death.
Well, we do have some talent. There's no doubt about it, and I think that is something that is God-given. There's no doubt. They are blessed, but they work extremely hard. We've got some good players that have been here, and the great thing about these kids here, and this is something I can say, obviously we're at a small school. All these boys don't have full scholarships. You know, they get academic help, and they get some help from the federal government, and they get maybe some football help. Some of them don't, though, but because our financial aid, it's not like they're getting full rides, so they are out here busting it, and they're doing a lot of things, just playing and enjoying football. And so their hard work, these guys really have a passion for the game. You know, it's not based on, hey, I'm playing because I've got a full ride. They're playing because they have a passion for the game. And I think, just like you said, you can see that on the video. You can see how hard these guys, these young men play, and that's exciting to see. That makes it very enjoyable to come to work and watch and develop these kids, see them develop over the years and over the months and over the season.
We're talking with head coach John Bland, the head coach at University of the Cumberlands. You're listening to Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network. We're going to be talking option right after this.
And all along, in some way, we work it out. Tick-tock, it wins away.
Coaches helping coaches. That is the message behind Jerry Campbell Football. Jerry Campbell Football provides the best quality products that can increase the range of information and understanding of football coaches, players, and fans. You can find great value on the website located at www.jerrycampbellfootball.com. Jerry Campbell Football has books and DVDs available. Whether it be offense, defense, resume preparation, the kicking game, or PowerPoint training, Jerry Campbell Football has what you need to build your knowledge base. Whether by using a traditional approach to cutting-edge technology, you can enhance your knowledge in nearly any area. You can also join in with coaches from all over the country at the interactive message forum at www.jerrycampbellfootball.com. That's www.jerrycampbellfootball.com.
This segment of Coach's Corner is sponsored by
Jerry Campbell Football. Coaches helping coaches at www.jerrycampbellfootball.com.
My guest is head coach John Bland from the University of the Cumberlands, a NAIA team up there in Williamsburg, Kentucky. Had an opportunity to meet Coach Bland down in Atlanta at the Glacier Clinics down there. And he and I and Coach Dale Wiggins out of Georgia, we're all sitting there talking with each other. And then it comes up in conversation. Well, what are you doing down here, Coach? Oh, I'm one of the speakers. And you're here in line? So that was an interesting moment, I think.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know where I was going right there. There was a line of people. I got in it.
Yeah, but it was a pleasure to get down there a little bit later and hear your clinic. You put on a great clinic down there.
Well, thank you. You know what? I enjoy doing it because of as you speak and you have an opportunity to. I encourage you to do it. You know, because you get a chance to talk and maybe get some feedback, and I learn some things as I go. But also, I feel more comfortable when I communicate this information to our players. That's the key. If you can talk and you can get players to understand what you see in your mind, what are the things that you're understanding and what you want to get across, it's important. So the more I talk and the more I get an opportunity to do things like that, it just, I think, makes me a better coach. You know, I mean, I can have the knowledge. You got to communicate to people for them to get the knowledge. I can't go out there and play anymore. And so these guys got to get out there and produce the X's and O's on the field.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about a starting.
Well, I think this right here, I want to say real quick, you know, as Paul Johnson Tech, when he made that move to Georgia Tech, Navy's one thing, yes. But when he went to Georgia Tech and got in the ACC, won that conference, it made it okay again. To me, it made it okay for other people to run the option. You know, people were kind of scared away from that. Recruits, mainly. You know, fans, yes, they want to see you throw the football, but everybody ultimately wants to see you win. Winning that ACC was very big, and it was big for the whole country because everybody wants to run the option. They want to be successful. Do you have to throw it, run it? It doesn't really matter, but option football is not gone. It is alive and well, and it's very strong. So what we like to do is run that same style of offense. One year in 2008, we did both. We did the under center option, and we got in the gun, same personnel, different formations. Obviously, the quarterback's back, but we spread it out a little bit. We run very similar plays, though, and that year in 2008, we ran, I believe, 451 plays under center, and we had 450 in the shotgun. So it was 50-50, almost exact, and not really by plan. It was just happened to be. The transition we choose to use is based on personnel. It's maybe based on the weather. It might be based on the defense that we're seeing, so we can see more and more success based on those type of things. So I don't go into a game and I say we're going to be under center all game long. I may say we're going to be probably getting under center maybe more if it's a weather situation or personnel-wise. So most of it's based on a defense and how much we can get them in or out of that box to allow us to run the ball better first, and then we'll go from there. So it helps us having both those under center and shotgun styles of offense.
Now, when I consider the shotgun and I consider being up under center, there's a couple of things that stand out to me. Number one, you've got four receivers on the line of scrimmage in both formations.
Yeah.
Usually, you're kind of limited unless you start bringing a lot of motion with the slot backs as to how you can run the option as opposed to how you can do it with the spread because your quarterback really is coming downhill a lot more.
Yes, he is. I think this right here, and I learned this at Rice, under center we run the triple option, right? And we do that here as well. And so does Georgia Tech. They run the triple option. So the quarterback is reading from the line of scrimmage. His margin of error is going to be very small. If he messes up, the play is usually dead. If he makes the wrong read, it's usually dead. We were at Rice University, and we're running the spread option from the gun. And I think we were playing Tulsa at the time. And actually, Coach Hatfield did not want to read it. He wanted to predetermine, hand the football off. We blocked it like a read, but we're going to hand the ball off or pull the football. Tell the quarterback just what to do. You know, we veer block inside, and the 5 technique, he will squeeze, and then the quarterback run on out there. Well, it just so happens, you know, when you don't read it, a lot of times those guys do just the opposite of what you think they're going to do. And so, but what happened? The quarterback pulls it because we told him to, and the defensive end is standing right there in his face. And our quarterback made a little move, ran around him, and I don't know if he scored or what, but he made a big, big play. And I thought, you know, that wouldn't happen under center. That's the difference. That wouldn't happen under center. The margin of error can be a little larger from the shotgun because you've got more space to make things happen. The great thing about under center is you hit the line of scrimmage fast for the fullback, and they've got to really be well coached on defense. From the shotgun, you got a little bigger margin of error. It does hit the line of scrimmage a little bit slower, though, so there's advantages and disadvantages of both.
We're talking with Coach John Bland, the head coach at University of the Cumberlands, 4-time NAIA Mid-South Conference champion. And we'll be right back here on Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network with more Coach John Bland right after this.
You're listening to Coach's Corner with John Anderson on the CompuSports Radio Network.
For over a quarter century, CompuSports has provided high-quality, easy-to-use coaching software to high school and college football coaches at prices that do an end-around on limited athletic budgets. Our Easy Scout line of football scouting and video editing software improves the process of collecting, organizing, and analyzing information about the plays in a game, helping coaches save time while gaining a competitive edge. Easy Scout products have always been easy to learn, easy to use, and built to adapt to a football coach's own terminology. The current version of the Easy Scout Professional scouting and video editing system delivers the kind of analysis and reporting capabilities that can cost up to 5 times as much. CompuSports Easy Scout software, because game day is only part of your job.
This is the CompuSports Radio Network.
John Bland, head coach, University of the Cumberlands, is my guest today here on Coach's Corner, and we've been talking about starting from the gun as opposed to starting under center, some of the advantages and disadvantages of both. And, Coach, you wanted to start to talk about some of the plays that you run from under center.
Right. Well, I tell you what, we've got a really good package, and I'm going to talk about four or five basic plays. Number one, inside veer. You know, that's something you'll see if you watch Georgia Tech or some of these guys like Navy, some of the Division I schools that you see on TV. They'll be the quarterback and the fullback have that ride. They read the first man on or outside the tackle, and you'll read that man as far as to keep the ball or give the ball to your fullback. Then you come on out there and pitch off of an invert or the next man in line there, and you'll pitch off of him, either pitch it or keep it. So this is called the triple option. I sometimes call it the inside veer, but we have the triple option attack where we're stealing linebackers, we're veering, and the great thing about this play is it is easier for our offensive line to come off the ball and be aggressive. They're veering, they're very aggressive, they're scooping on the backside. Everybody has an opportunity to be aggressive and not just man up and be dictated by what the defense does. So like a train on a track, know where you're going, the quarterback reads the rest. So the important thing is good splits and then having your quarterback being a good operator. And so that's one play, the inside veer. The next one we like to run off of this in this under center package was the isolation read. The isolation read is more like an isolation. There's a high % chance the ball's going to be handed to the fullback. Sometimes, though, it can turn into the outside veer. What I mean by that is we read the guy who you normally pitch off of in that inside veer or that triple option. The guy you normally pitch off of is an invert or a defensive end way outside, who you normally pitch off of now becomes the read man. So, yes, you're probably going to hand it, but you don't know where the fullback's going to go. It depends on how the 5 technique plays, if he crosses face, if he stays outside. our offensive tackle bases that man, and then the fullback cuts off of him with a lead block from the play side slot. So he's going to go inside or out as well of our offensive tackle and lead up on that play side linebacker. So that becomes our isolation, which is a great play with very aggressive blocking. We can double to the backside. Because we do have that isolation block, we can double down with our guard and our center, and then we can scoop on the backside still, and we're very protected. So that's really good as well. We also have what we call a counter lead. Okay, the counter lead is something that gets flow going like we're running the option or the ISO with the fullback, and gets flow going with motion, and then we come back and hand off over the top, and we block that. The great thing about it is we block it just like the isolation on the play side. We block it just like the isolation, so the tackle bases, the play side back blocks the play side linebacker after his motion, and then the other back comes around and gets that football. So the line blocks it just like the isolation, so it's not a new blocking scheme for them. But it is getting flow because people will start running, including the free safety and the linebackers, when you run this option. And that is good. Now, I said I was going to talk about 4 or 5 plays. Those are 3. That's inside veer, that's the isolation read, and then that's the counter lead. We'll also have a quarterback follow, which is another isolation, but we'll also run several different schemes off of the inside veer, whether we're loading the play side linebacker with the play side slot, or we have a crack arc scheme where they get out on the corner and block the corner, but the quarterback just has to know which scheme we're running so he knows who to read and who to pitch off of, whether it's a certain man or an area. So it's a good little option package, very simple. The great thing about it is, I think if our guys know what they're doing and we keep it simple, it may seem complex at times, but if we keep it simple, we get an opportunity for those guys to be very aggressive, and it helps us, win football games in the long run.
Now, I noticed on your inside veer that your blocking scheme pretty much remains the same as it does in a lot of your different category runs, but you're flexible enough to be able to switch up some of your blocking schemes where you're just replacing this guy and you're just basically doing the same thing, just basically giving them a different look.
Exactly right. You know what? The ones that don't have as many things to do or change is the offensive line. We work on these things. Let's say our running backs, we'll go, okay, let's work on a 5 block. That is going to be where you're loading the play side linebacker or sealing the inside of the play side linebacker. Let's work on a arc block. You're arcing to the first thread outside. Let's work on a stalk block where you're going to be blocking up on the safety. So we have several different paths that they block, and they pick up that defender in that area. Now, once we start calling plays, we can put in a simple number or a simple word that tells them what to do. And without them really thinking, yeah, it'd be great if they knew exactly what I was thinking, but if I changed it in the middle of a game, they can make that adjustment real easily because they've worked that block before, and now they know, and the quarterback knows, okay, this is how we're going to take advantage of the defense adjustment right here by blocking this scheme a little differently.
We're talking with Coach John Bland, the head coach of the University of the Cumberlands out of Williamsburg, Kentucky, and we're having a great time here talking about spread. We're talking under center, we're talking option, and we'll be talking more with Coach Bland right after this on Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network.
Love your football? Coach's Corner resumes after this break.
If you are interested in becoming a sponsor on Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network and you'd like to place your commercial right here on this program, just email me, John, John, at CompuSportsRadio.com. That's John, John, at CompuSportsRadio.com. And in the meantime, let's check out a little bit of Austin Auto from Denver, Colorado for about Yeah, you got it. About 30 seconds or so.
With his paycheck in her hand, offers we're gonna plan. That's just baby and hit the highway. She's lost in love and looking for trouble all night long. All the right gone wrong, and there's no way she's gonna change from bad girl busting you run. Lost in love and looking for trouble, dear friend. You will bleed tonight like a million times before.
You are listening to Coach's Corner with John Anderson on the CompuSports Radio Network.
This segment of Coach's Corner is sponsored by CompuSports, publisher of the Easy Cut video editing software program. Easy Cut works for any sport and starts at just $195. Easy Cut, the affordable video editing software available at CompuSports.com. Coach John Bland is my guest. He's the head coach at the University of the Cumberlands, and we've had a great conversation here with option and spread and being under center, and now I believe we're going to be talking about the option out of the shotgun. Now, Coach, before we get started, how difficult is it to teach the quarterback all this different footwork with being in the shotgun as opposed to being under center?
Well, it is difficult. It's something we have to work on each and every day, and so that that footwork and those meshes with the running back that he is reading, because, his eyes aren't in the pocket. His eyes are not in that running back's pocket and handing that ball off. What he has to do is keep his eyes on the read man, and the man he's reading, whether he's giving it or pulling it. So it does have to be perfect, and that's something we work on every day. So it takes time. There's no doubt about it. It's not something you can do overnight. It does take time, and the more a quarterback becomes a veteran, the more experience he has, the better he gets at it.
Let's go ahead and talk about some of the offense that you have from the gun.
Okay. This is something, I have a small package here too. Now this is what we've talked about so far, has not included any play action pass. We want to be able to throw the football. We want to be able to throw it on first down, not just when we have to. We'll throw it on first down to keep them honest, because they've got to cover the pass, and then you're going to be able to make big plays in the running game as well. But we'll set up the pass by running the football, but we're not going to be so stubborn that we will run it when they've got all of them up there on the line of scrimmage. So we've got to be able to throw all that in there too, and that's a play-action pass off of all these things, which is great. The zone read, though, will be our first one, and we're going to talk about this real quick. We would like to run our zone read very similar to the way we run the inside veer under center. The one difference is, because the quarterback and the running back are off the line of scrimmage, obviously the running back's off there anyway, but the quarterback's back, the read is going to take a little bit more time. The angle that the running back hits that line of scrimmage and the quarterback, it does not allow us to scoop on the backside, where we scoop and take off and get somebody else downfield, maybe at linebacker level to secondary level. Here we're going to have to zone on the backside. That's the only difference. Zone on the backside, which means we're going to protect our backside so the quarterback can sit in that read with the running back. The zone read on the only difference is, on the play side, it's just like the inside veer. So we're going to veer hard, and we're going to seal the linebacker with a play side slot. Okay, a lot of people run the zone read. They'll not have a slot. They'll read the defensive end, and if the linebacker scrapes, the offensive tackle pushes him out. He veers inside. He pushes him out. The quarterback fits up underneath him. We're going to let that tackle go on just like he does. He veers, no linebacker. He looks backside to secondary level. Our play side slot is going to seal the linebacker if he scrapes. So the tackle and him kind of double team him inside and out of the read man. The tackle and the play side slot. So the quarterback just has to read, then get out there and pitch off the next man, which is good. We also have an isolation read, just like under center. Very similar, blocked the same way. Only difference is, backside we're not scooping. We are going to have to zone on the backside again. But the play side is identical to under center isolation read, which means we're going to face the defensive end, with our right tackle or left tackle. We're going to face him. We're going to read the first man outside of that, which is normally our pitch man, which means there's a high percent chance, probably in the 90s, that he's going to be given to the running back. We do have an isolation block by that slot, which means he's going to read the tackle's block and either go B-gap or C-gap to block that play side linebacker, which means there's going to be a hole somewhere. As long as somebody doesn't let somebody go completely. We got that isolation read's a really good play for us. Then we have the quarterback counter. We all saw Cam Newton really go. I don't know if he needed any blocking or not, but he had some. And what happens is we got a little flow going the other way, looking like zone read, and the quarterback pulls it and runs in there just like the blocking of the isolation read. So, yes, just like the blocking of the isolation read, which means one of them is not blocked. That's the outside linebacker or normally the pitch man. If he does come, you have to get rid of that ball, whether pitching it or throwing it to a receiver, like on a bubble screen or something like that. You have to have that answer. But most of the time, he's not. If he's not blitzing, quarterback can get in there and run that football. So you got three good plays again. You can change up the blocking on the perimeter. You just got to let your quarterback know he's going to have to pitch off one of these guys, and just like we did under center. But it's basically three: the zone read, isolation read, and the QB counter, which has been really, really good for us. Now, we do have some sweeps and some other things, but that is our bread and butter right there from the gun, which makes it easy because same blocking for the line, all three plays, under center and the shotgun.
I noticed from the clinic, one of the first things that I picked up on is that I hear different coaches talk about some of the techniques that they teach their running backs, but you teach one specifically in your zone read, and that's you teach the running back a jump cut to come to the ball instead of just crossing over.
Yes, jump shuffle. And one of the reasons we do that is because we feel like he can keep his shoulders more square to the line of scrimmage. A lot of people are doing this now, and we're going to look into this, and I want to see if it'll help us, is the pistol. Getting right behind the quarterback, bucket step and run, or just run just like you do if you were a fullback under center, which was really good. But in this other set, our quarterback is behind the center, and right now our running back is over in B-gap, either to the right or left, depending on the formation. When we run that zone read or the isolation read, we don't want him crossing over and running to the left side of the line. For instance, if he's on the right, he goes to the left. We don't want him crossing over. We want him jump shuffling over and getting downhill, and the quarterback attacking the snap. And so from the point of the ball, when the ball is snapped, the quarterback and the running back are trying to gain approximately 1 yard, getting closer to the line of scrimmage than where they were, okay, with a little momentum too. Attacking the snap, getting the momentum, and getting in that hole to make that defender have to squeeze or come up on the quarterback, make a decision. So it helps us with the tempo of our offense just a little bit from the gun.
Coach John Bland is my guest here from University of the Cumberlands, and I'll be asking him a couple of questions in our next segment. You're listening to Coach's Corner on the CompuSports Radio Network.
For over a quarter century, CompuSports has provided high-quality, easy-to-use coaching software to high school and college football coaches at prices that do an end-around on limited athletic budgets. Our Easy Scout line of football scouting and video editing software improves the process of collecting, organizing, and analyzing information about the plays in a game, helping coaches save time while gaining a competitive edge. Easy Scout products have always been easy to learn, easy to use, and built to adapt to a football coach's own terminology. The current version of the Easy Scout Professional scouting and video editing system delivers the kind of analysis and reporting capabilities that can cost up to 5 times as much. CompuSport's Easy Scout software, because game day is only part of your job.
This is the CompuSports Radio Network.
John Bland is my guest today. He's the head coach at the University of the Cumberlands. We've been talking spread. We've been talking option under center, option from the gun, and I want to ask him a few questions here that I think has been addressed at some point before, but I think that we would do well to address them here now. And one of which is, I know there are different things that defenses do to take away the zone read, which is your bread and butter play. What are you seeing defenses do to try to take that away initially?
Well, a lot of times, they just mix up the front, which will be more geared toward, maybe it's their style. And a lot of teams will stick with that style, and our preparation throughout the week may eliminate a play, may eliminate the zone read. We may use some motion to try to create angles again, though. But one of the things that I always do, under center or in the gun, is try not to create something. I just coach what I know, and Coach Hatfield's done this before. And while I was coaching for him, he'd say, I say, Coach, that's no good, or we would think that's no good on the field. He'd say, run it anyway, and it would work. Sometimes you overthink yourself a little bit, but we try to make sure we have still good angles, and everybody has a chance to be successful. We don't want to be out leveraged, and so if someone gets us out leveraged by a defensive formation, and then our offensive formation doesn't allow us to get back in good position, we'll either not run the play or try to get another man by bringing one over and seeing if they adjust. Most of the good defenses will. If you bring an extra man over, they'll adjust as well. So sometimes our plays are just eliminated, and we end up running a smaller package. Or we stick to more under center. Or we have to go throw the football a little more. We like to run the option as much as we can. But if they've got too many people in too many areas that we're trying to run it, then we need to go where they're not, and that sometimes is throwing the football. So we've got a lot of good plays. We just got to pick the right ones. Sometimes those are eliminated by defensive calls.
When you're running the zone read, I know that there are athletes out there who are taught to kind of slow play that read, and they may get you to, we're going to pull the ball and we're going to take it outside, but this guy's quick enough really to kind of run you down. I know you've had some options worked into that with a slot receiver on that play side coming back in motion, kind of like you would see, and I'm trying to, the closest thing that I can see is arena football, where you've got that guy going 5 or 10 yards back, and all of a sudden he's screaming forward again.
You bet. And what we do is we line people up in different ways, in different formations, where they would say, okay, he's a receiver, and next thing you know, in the middle of the play, he becomes the pitch man. And our quarterback is out there, and where you were covering someone, you thought, he's in my zone, I've got to cover him on the pass, and now here comes the option. The defender says, hey, there's the quarterback with the football. Go get him. Bang. He's pitching the ball. Who's he pitching to? That was the original receiver. So there is a lot of that. Of course, just by formations, allowing us, and I think one beauty of the shotgun is this: it spreads the defense out more, not just by saying the name shotgun, but when you get in the shotgun, you know what happens? You hear that word. You hear defenses saying gun, gun, shotgun. What do? Do they come crowd the box, or do they spread out? They normally spread out. because it is easier to throw the football. The quarterback can see better. There's people out there in space a little more when you put these certain formations in with the gun and they're spread out. So it does spread people out, and when you spread people out, it creates more lanes and bigger lanes for us to run into.
I know that not everyone has a 300-pound tank back like Auburn had this year back at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
That's a
I need
special
one of those,
player. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would like to have one of those. That would be almost like a new toy that you could just play with, have all sorts of stuff running around.
It'd be hard to beat.
Are you planning on putting anything like a jet package like they had down there at Auburn this past year?
Well, we do. You know what? And that's the great thing about us when they say, hey, we want to go to Wildcat. We want to do the Wildcat package, Coach. I said, that's what we do. I mean, our package is the Wildcat. A lot of people will be in a pro-style offense. The quarterback's the thrower. He's not necessarily the runner, but ours is. Ours is the runner. He will run the football. Now, we might put a stronger runner at our quarterback, and that might be what we call our Wildcat. But we're going to run the same plays. We have the jet sweep. We have the sweep from our fullback. We have a speed option. We have a fake off of that and a pass, like Darren McFadden at Arkansas a few years ago. And every time he got back there, what did he do? He made big plays. He was running the same type of offense we're running. But they're thinking he's going to run the football. He's going to run the football. And then all of a sudden, bang, he can throw it too. And that's the great thing about it. And that's what our quarterback does on every play. If he just could run like Darren McFadden, it would make it a whole lot easier. Or Cam Newton even. But our quarterback does a great job, and he can do it. Now, if we have a stronger runner, we may substitute him in, put our first-team quarterback out at receiver to give a little bit of confusion to a defense. That would be the only adjustment we'd have to make at University of Cumberlands, which is great.
One last question. I was looking at the game cut-ups at University of Cumberland, and I don't know what time period this covers, but you had a very athletic offensive line.
Yeah.
So what do you look for when you're recruiting offensive linemen for this offense?
Well, we love for them to be, 6'4", 300 pounds and run a 4.8 and beat all that. That's not going to happen. We got to get kids who are aggressive. We got to get kids who know how to play with a low hat level, and they're going to be able to veer block and get downfield on linebackers. We love for them to be able to match up and block a 3 technique and not get pushed around. So we've got to have a good combination, but aggressiveness and being able to come off the ball hard and flat and low is the key. So size, we've had all conference players that weigh 220 pounds. We've had some that weigh 300 as well. So, and we've had them from 5'10" to 6'4", 6'5". So we've got them all different sizes. The key is fast, quick, aggressive, and then have great technique as far as low man doesn't always win. If you're looking at a man that's just overpowering you, but most of the time, a high percentage of the time, the low man wins. And so we want people who can play low and still move their feet aggressively and keep their eyes up.
Coach, it's been great to have you on here.
I sure appreciate you.
And we'll be following University of the Cumberland here this coming year, and good luck next year.
Well, thank you very much. Just call me back if you need anything else.
Yes, sir. And if you folks have not heard Coach Bland at a clinic, definitely make plans to do so. Once again, sir, you got to come back on.
I sure do appreciate that. Anytime, I'll be more than happy.
We'll be right back with some final thoughts right after this.
Once again, I'd like to thank our guest this week, head coach John Bland from the University of the Cumberlands. And thank you, sir, for coming and taking time with us on the show this week. And it'll be fun to keep an eye on that football team this year. Next week, we're going to be talking pattern reading coverages with defensive coordinator Keith Albers from O'Fallon Township High School in Illinois, a huge, huge 7A school out there in the southern half of the state of Illinois, and we're going to be talking the flip side of the line of scrimmage here next week. Coach's Corner is an Abundant Harvest production on the CompuSports Radio Network. I'm John Anderson, and we'll talk to you next time.